Welcome to episode 234 of the Thunder Underground podcast. Trent and Jason here as always. And this week, we've got Stevie D joining us. Stevie D has a great new album out featuring Corey Glover on vocals. So we're going to talk about all that here coming up. And you know what? 234, that's the last numerical episode we'll have for quite a while.
Yeah, I get that. It probably is.
234. What, 3?
What's the next one? Probably 356. 345.
I was like, what?
Man, what the fuck? These beers I've been drinking are non-alcoholic too. I did something else stupid earlier. It's been a long day.
Actually, it would be 321 because you can go backwards.
You can? Okay, yeah. Is that allowed?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, usually I would say cut that out. But I don't care because I don't give a shit. Who cares? Most people know I'm an airhead anyways. Whatever. I'm like a hot cheerleader without the hot cheerleader. That's how much of an airhead I am.
I always considered you a hot cheerleader type.
Moving right along.
Okay.
So on episode 321, who will be our guest?
That's a good question. I'm going to go back to something you mentioned earlier in a YouTube video we recorded. And I think we should have the drummer from Huff and Moose on that episode.
Why not? Why not? I mean, who says we can't?
Yeah. If there's any Huff and Moose fans out there, drop us a line. Because Jason is a big fan, so he likes to reference them a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
All right. Random 90s bands for 600 Alex.
Who is Oleander?
They were a little bigger than Huff and Moose, though.
Well, true. Who is Primitive Radio Gods?
Yeah, man, I did not like that song.
Who is Radish?
Wow, I forgot that until this moment.
I could do this all day, motherfucker.
Let's get way deeper.
All day. Okay.
Who is Denaro?
Oh man, were they 90s? They
came out in the 90s.
They were 90s, but their sound was very 80s.
It's not 90s in the sense of what, 90s music was. But yeah, they came out in the 90s.
You know what?
I mean, Firehouse was a 90s band.
Speaking to what we talked about earlier.
Who we love, by the way.
We should play Denaro on the podcast sometime.
That's right.
Who the fuck is going to know or care? It's on YouTube.
That's right.
It's
not on streaming services, though, right?
No, it's not. I've looked it up. Oh, yeah, I did.
Some random person put it on YouTube. Yeah. And we listened to that a while back at your house. I forgot about that.
Yes, we did.
That's right. We're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
Listen to some Denaro and their best Simple Minds impressions.
That'll be... It's like a hair band, Simple Minds. That'll be on our radio episode.
That's right.
Okay.
Coming in January of 2020.
Probably 2021.
But all right, back to the subject at hand before we get to the subject at hand, our sponsors.
Mm-hmm. We
need to give a shout out to Med Farm and to DEB Concerts. Med Farm is a dispensary in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, located at 24683 East Highway 51. That's just about a quarter mile east of Oneida Road, right off Highway 51. You can't miss them. They've got flags, they've got signs, they've got lights. It's a great place to stop in there.
They got a picture of a cow with a pot leaf as its butthole.
That is right. That's something we don't mention enough.
I mean, how fucking amazing is that?
That is their logo, and that is amazing.
That's where I want to buy my shit.
Yeah. Even if they weren't our sponsor, you would want to buy your shit there just because of that logo.
Mm-hmm. It's not a chocolate starfish, mind you. It's a green pot leaf.
That's right. Yes.
It's not a rusty balloon knot.
Well, that's a term I haven't heard.
It's a green pot leaf.
All right. Yeah, get in there and check out the green pot leaf on the cow because you can buy that on a t-shirt. So why not? Support them in that way if you're not in there to buy products. But if you are in there to buy products, they've got a huge selection. And if you tell them you heard about them on Thunder Underground, mention our name, they'll give you 10% off your order. Anytime. And a lot of other times they're running specials. Like just today when we're recording this, I saw they had 20% off of vapes and cartridges. So they're always running stuff like that. So if you follow them on Facebook at MedFarm, that's PHARM, or Instagram at MedFarmOK, or on their website at medfarmok.com, you can keep track of all that stuff. They've got a doctor on site every Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And top that all off, they're family owned, they're Oklahoma owned, and 30% of their proceeds go to help build no-kill animal shelters. So that's a huge thing. That's an awesome thing, and that's why their slogan is Cannabis with a Cause.
Hell yeah.
So get in there and support them and tell them we sent you to get a discount. DEB Concerts, a promoter located here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, brings a lot of kick-ass rock and roll to the IDL Ballroom in downtown Tulsa. They've brought in bands like Saxon, Great White, Tom Kiefer, Sebastian Bach, Striper, Dokken, Warrant, a huge long list. Coming up here in just a little over a week and a half, they are bringing Last in Line to the IDL Ballroom. That's a huge one for both of us.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
I'm going to be there. Are you going to be there?
I will be there.
All right.
I'll be in town, so I will be there.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Last in Line, we had the chance to see them at Rocklahoma a couple years ago, but really looking forward to seeing a headline set, full set from these guys. They've got 2 albums out now that are both fantastic, and they're actually already working on a 3rd one.
Okay.
Which is great news. October 19th at the IDL Ballroom with Fist of Rage opening up. Our good friends in Fist of Rage, hit them up on Facebook. They will send you tickets. They will meet you in town. If you're not in town, they'll send them to you. Hit them up. That'll save you some money on fees. If not, you can buy them at the door. You can buy them ahead of time on Stubwire. Do not miss this show. It's going to be amazing. I promise you that. We actually had Vivian Campbell from Last in Line and, of course, Def Leppard on this podcast here a couple months ago, so go check that one out. Then moving forward in November, on the 23rd, Vixen is coming to the IDL Ballroom along with the Iron Maidens and Down for Five. Vixen actually played right in front of the IDL Ballroom.
That's right.
About 3 years ago. They played Streets Gone Wild. That was an excellent show, so I guarantee you this one will be as well.
Oh, definitely.
And I've never got to see the Iron Maidens, so really looking forward to that. All-female tribute to, of course, the one and only Iron Maiden. And then Down for Five is a band here from Tulsa that's been on this podcast a few times. We love those guys, and they've got new music coming as well, so hit them up for your advance tickets.
Is there new stuff out yet?
No.
Well, we need to get them back on here when it's out.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been talking about...
Want to pump that up.
They posted when they were recording,
okay,
guitars and different stuff going on, so that should be soon, I think. So, yeah, of course, we'll have them back. So, yeah, hit them up. Both those shows at the IDL Ballroom. Both those shows will have Eddie Trunk hosting them. And you'll see us out there at both those shows as well. All right, so we need to talk about the Rival Sons.
Yes, we do.
Because this past week, they played the Tulsa State Fair on October 2nd. And it was fantastic.
As always, I mean...
Yeah, you knew it was going to be.
Yeah, those guys can't turn in a bad set.
Right. They're just a phenomenal band regardless when you listen to their albums. And they're one of those bands that translate it perfectly live. And the thing I love about it is it doesn't sound like just a carbon copy of the album, but it sounds perfect just like the album.
Yeah.
Exactly. If that makes sense. Like they're just...
Yeah, because there's definitely... They're the kind of band that, they warrant some... they're loose and they're groovy and, there's some jamming going on. And it's not antiseptic, but it's perfect.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, they jam out on songs like, Feral Roots, has a long jam there towards the end.
Yeah.
A couple of the other songs, they extend that way, which is always cool when a band can do that and do it to where it doesn't, lose you or anything.
Yeah.
Where it's not just them being self-indulgent or something. These guys are just playing music and it sounds fucking phenomenal. And they're an all-killer, no-filler band. I mean, they don't, like you told me the day of the show that you listened to every one of their albums that day.
Yes.
And you can do that because they're all killer, no filler.
Yeah, the day of the show. I have a job where fortunately I just kind of put my headphones on and go. I don't really have anyone breathing down my neck. I don't really have a lot of curveballs thrown at me. So I just started at Feral Roots and went back and listened to all 6 of their records. And it took pretty much the whole day, and it was great. And it got me nice and primed up for the show. I think for me, the high points of the show were, Open My Eyes. I really love that song.
Same here.
I love when it's like that chorus, that pre-chorus, like kind of drops down or something.
Yeah.
You know, and it just makes when they come back up even greater. And Shooting Stars obviously is just, an impeccable song. And even without the choir, you know, all 5 of them singing, it was just, they did a great job of that song.
Yeah. That song's like nearly like chill inducing when you hear it live.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just one of those songs, you know?
You get goosebumps for sure. It's one of those things that like, you don't know why, but you get that lump in your throat like you might cry.
Right.
So and to do that with a song, not something many people can do. So yeah, I fucking love this band, man.
Yeah. I mean, they can do it because their songs are deep, their lyrics are deep, and it's, I mean, obviously when you hear J.B. Cannon talk, he's a deep guy. So it's like they do that without it being, you know, when some people try to be deep, it comes off as smarmy or something, and he does it and it's natural. Yeah. That's what makes this band so great.
And I like how, like, he really has a command of the stage. Like, you know, he doesn't really look a lot of people in the eye. He just kind of looks through things, and he's like serious, and he's like there for one job. And it's almost like, it's almost in a good way, it's like fearful. Like, I don't want to break his gaze or break his concentration. So I'm gonna, you know, I'm looking up to you, sir. and I'm waiting for your next note to come out of that amazing voice.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. And it makes you feel like, there's a mystique, like back in the old days before you got to know everything about every band ever.
Right. You
know, with social media and the internet. So which is another reason why I love that band.
Yeah. And he can, you know, his voice is so powerful. He can do that thing where he holds the mic like really far away. And like I've seen, I can't think of who in the past besides Mili Majedovic from Steelheart that I've seen do that on more than one occasion. I know I've seen someone else do it, but when I'm talking, the microphone at times was down at his waist level. Yeah. And it sounds the same as it does when it's up here. And it's like that's not, obviously not common, people. That's like fucking pure power. You know?
So much control.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And the other thing I really love about this band is it's like they've made a name for themselves, obviously before now, but the past couple years, you know, probably since the Black Sabbath tour, they've got more attention from mainstream radio and from everything. And it's like they're doing things the way bands used to do it, which you don't see much more. Is they've got 6 albums and they've grown organically, I guess is the right word. Yeah. Like they've had this slow build to get to where they're at now, which still isn't even huge, but it's at a high level of, and of course they get tons of praise critically, which they of course deserve. Yeah. And I mean, you'll hear it from here at the end of the year. Feral Roots is going to, not to give anything away, but it's likely going to be in our top 3, I'm sure.
Exactly. Yeah. I think you're probably right. Yeah. It is an amazing record.
Yeah. And the show, of course, that we saw and a lot of the tour they're doing now is heavy on that, which that's what they're promoting. Exactly. You know, I think they played like 7 or 8 songs off of that album. Almost, that's 3/4 the album. Yeah. And then, you know, there was 4 or 5 other songs from the past. And, you know, so it was cool to hear Keep on Swinging and Electric Man and Pressure and Time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're going to play those.
I'm thinking a couple others I forgot. But, yeah, I mean, that was just a phenomenal show that keeps, I mean, these guys, if you haven't seen them, both of us have been fortunate enough to see them 3 times now. Yeah. So, if you have not seen them, do yourself a favor. And if you haven't followed them and you only know what you've heard on the radio, I guarantee if you go to a show, you'll be like, listen to these guys on the way home.
You'll love it, yeah. Yeah.
All right, so in the same vein, here's something I'm going to throw out here. 2020, the Black Crowes.
Think it's going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay, what makes you think that?
I got sources. I'm going to pull an Eddie Trunk here on you.
God, okay. We'll talk when.
Yeah, I'll tell you that when it's over, but things are happening. I know a couple people, I'm not just saying that to be douchey, but you know, that that know people that have mentioned things. And then, of course, Rich Robinson and the Magpie Salute have, I don't know, and a couple months ago they said dates are coming for 2020 for themselves. And then that post or something got deleted. And then he said in an interview that, like, it's up in the air, just being real vague about it now.
Yeah.
And that's something he was really pushing full bore. And then, like, 2 days ago, the Black Crowes Twitter, which has been dormant for 6 years, changed their handle to the Black Crowes.
Yeah.
And then there was something else going on. But regardless, it's heavily rumored that, you know, no one knows who's going to be involved with it besides them two. But myself,
as long as those two are there, yeah.
I'm fucking excited as hell.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're one of the greats, really. And it seemed like about a year ago, I read interviews with both of them, and they were both like, you know, they fucking hated each other.
Yeah. I mean, that's been going on in the press for, well, forever, but more recently in the last couple of years.
But at the same time, in these days, in this climate, if everyone's alive, you can't rule anything out in any of these bands.
Yeah.
So nothing is a surprise.
I mean, Slash and Axl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Case in point. You are right.
Yeah, so here you go. I hope it happens. I've seen them live not countless times, probably like 9 or 10 times.
Yeah.
And every time is as good as the last, so here's the hoping. All right, so let's play some music.
Let's do it.
We're going to play you a song right now from a band out of
Massachusetts.
Yeah. I just like to say Mass. They're not from Boston, but they're from Gardner.
Jesus, you had to say it like that. They're from Massachusetts.
Okay. All right, we'll go.
Or as my dad would say, Massachusetts.
Well, this song is by the band Young Other, and it's called Between the Few.
Living life in the middle isn't what you expect. There's a special kind of remedy, no right respect. You gotta make some mistakes, you gotta live and relate, you gotta learn how to eliminate all the things that went wrong. Find the will and be strong and turn away from the pain.
Between the Few, song from Young Other. Check these guys out. Give them a follow. What did you think of that? I mean, that's good, heavy, hard rock. I really love the vocals on it. They're real, kind of raspy and that just kind of dirty rock and roll sound that I love in vocalists like that.
Yeah, it's it's mainstream accessible, which is something I don't always dig on. But the hook and the catchiness of it grabbed me, and sometimes you can't deny that.
Yeah.
So it was a great song. Glad we could play it.
Something about it reminded me of if Crowbot was a lot more accessible.
I see that.
Which they are more accessible than they used to be, I guess. But that, you know what I'm saying? If they were a little more radio friendly, I guess.
Gotcha.
I don't know. But, which is a great thing because Crowbot is one of my favorite new bands.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, check out Young Other. All right, let's talk about Stevie D.
Nice.
Last week on the podcast, we played his new single with Corey Glover, and we talked about it then, but of course we're going to talk about it again here. This album, as a whole, is fantastic. I mean, it
really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's got everything you want in a rock and roll album. It's got the hard rock, that's heavy at times, and then it gets down into that bluesy feel, that soulful feel that you obviously get from Corey Glover with the songs like Strung Out.
Yeah.
Which is just amazing. And
that is a great song, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but just from start to finish, this is all killer, no filler. I mean, I know the last time we really just talked about the song, but your time has run out. But like this is, I mean, Torn from the Pages is something I would recommend to anybody that loves rock and roll.
Oh yeah, start to finish, you're going to love this record.
Yeah, so really do yourself a favor and check this out. Stevie D is a producer, mixer, all kinds of stuff behind the scenes, and this is his first solo effort that it's actually billed as Stevie D featuring Corey Glover.
Yes.
But it's his first thing that he really put together as a musician, and he's got, you'll hear about it here in this interview. This is like 10 years in the making for this album.
Definitely.
And it's cool. This interview I think is cool because, a lot of times you talk about music, talk about writing, but since this guy is a producer and behind the scenes the majority of the time, a lot of the stuff we talked about in here is more kind of on the technical side of things than you usually get from someone.
Exactly. And we got a cool little cameo in this interview.
That's right. Cameo from Dave Bickler, who was the vocalist for Survivor, who you all know from Eye of the Tiger, Burning Heart, basically the Rocky soundtracks. Both those songs are from Rocky soundtracks.
Yeah, I mean, so that was unexpected and a pretty awesome surprise.
Yeah, because, I mean, originally when we, to give you a little behind the scenes here, we was talking to the PR about setting this up, and he wasn't available on the day we were going to do it, and then she got back to us later and said, yeah, he said he could do it now. But apparently we found out while we were doing an interview, he just said he could do it during the middle of the recording session.
Yeah, so definitely thanks for the time out. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate Stevie D taking the time out to do that.
Yeah, so big thanks to him and also to Dave Bickler for being willing to take a 30-minute break.
Yeah, jump in and say hi.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, let's just get into this now. Here's Stevie D. Past weekend you guys had your album release show. Like how did that
we did
how'd everything go?
Well, everything went great. We had a very nice turnout and spirits, the vibe in the room was great. Everybody had a great time. It was all good energy, all happiness and laughter and good music, just good. We played well. Of course, we as artists are always seeking perfection, so there's always room for improvement. But for our first outing, and I would say it was a success.
Are there any plans to do any more shows?
Yeah, I'm working on that now. There's nothing booked yet, but there will be soon.
All right, like
and also there will be I recorded the show. I did a 4-camera shoot and recorded the audio, so there'll be a real nice video audio representation of the show as well.
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah, so I can get that right out there so people can see immediately, get an idea what this thing is like live.
What was the preparation for that like? Did you guys get time to rehearse and everything, or was it more of an off the cuff type thing?
No, I rehearsed the band. Probably, we did a handful of rehearsals, and I had Corey down a couple of times. So yeah, we did some preparation, and you don't want to over rehearse, but which I don't think we did. So, but a live show is you could do 6 rehearsals, and then if you do a live show, that's almost like another 6. One show is. Are you guys musicians as well?
Yes. This is Jason. I am, and I definitely know what you mean. It feels like so much into a live show as opposed to a practice, so I can relate.
You know what I mean? And it's like you got to at practice. You do a song, you talk about it, you get ready, you do the next song. Everybody looks at each other and kind of goes, "Okay, so the count off is this." But at the show, there's none of that. It's like you got to go. There's no talking about anything. You go from song to song, and that's it. And it really does tighten you up. So the next show will be much more relaxed and much more confident. With the beginnings and endings and everything else. So
definitely
looking forward to it. I can tell you that. I wish we had a show like tomorrow, so I could just get back up there.
Well, I'm assuming with like your schedule and Corey's schedule that it's when you do shows, it's probably going to be just here and there. It's not going to be something where you could tour, or is that a possibility?
Well, I mean, at the moment, it's going to be one-offs, but as I build the project, my goal is to secure some consecutive dates, but at the moment I'm just building getting the record out there, getting everything out there so that there's more of a demand for this act for a tour, and also Corey actually he tours. He's out there much more than myself. I mean, I'm producing over here. I have a studio, so I'm in there. I'm in my studio. That's where I spend most of my time, and the performing side of things is dedicated to this record and this project, whereas Corey is doing a few different things. So I would be targeting a specific area of time to grab Corey to do this. So let's say like, a festival, a week run in Europe or some weekends here and there here in the States. But for me, quite frankly, I'd like to take this thing out as much as possible.
Yeah.
But it's got to make sense. We're not going to get in a van, and you know what I mean? We're not going to get in a van and pound the pavement.
Exactly.
Well, you've obviously been involved with the music business for quite a long time, and I've read in the press for this album and everything that you said that this was a long process to get this album out. Like, how long was that whole? Like, how long have you been wanting to do this, and why do you think right now is the right time?
I've been working on this record for the better part of the last. I mean, I finished the mixes 2 years ago. The record was done 2 years ago. It took that much time to secure the deal and get all the logistics out of the way and do the videos and get this thing released. But I had been working on the music for the better part of from 2010 up to when I signed the deal and finished the mixing. So I've been working on it for quite a while, and at one point, probably around 2017, or I just picked up the phone one day and started making some calls to some labels so I could start getting feelers if anybody would be interested in putting it out. And at that point, I got some interest and quickly wanted to just get it done and get it out there. It was enough already. It was like, okay, this record has been been working on it for long enough, and I really got to just get it out there, and I did.
So these were songs that you've had for quite a while, written already.
Yeah. I mean, I started. I mean, I think the first song on this record started to come together somewhere around the end of 2009, and probably started writing the record. Not too much. I mean, the songs were all written probably to 2012, like between 2009 and 2012, I'm guessing. And the rest of the time was just production and, change. I had to re-record singers and bring in musicians. But I work all that around my studio schedule. So it's not like I block the studio out to record and mix the record within a specific amount of time. I would work on the record. I would do other records, other acts, and go back and do, whenever I got time, I'd go in and work on this record. But, it's not uncommon for studio owners who are musicians to be spending a lot of their time working on other records, and their music kind of takes the back seat because, kind of paying the bills is kind of plays a big influence on your work schedule.
You obviously, this long of a process, wrote these songs. You didn't write them with Corey Glover in mind. So how did it come about that you brought him on board to do the vocals for this? That's somebody actually just asked me that question. It's an interesting question. When I was coming up with these songs, I originally did the scratch vocals. So when I write the tunes, I sing the melodies to myself, and I put up a mic and I just kind of ad-lib some melodies and some lyrics that'll come out, and eventually I'll give my best shot at documenting some sort of a representation of the song. And did I have Corey in mind? I didn't specifically have anybody in mind. I don't specifically have anybody in mind when I write a song, but I will say this, every song that I write is a potential contender for somebody like Corey Glover to sing, who, like I said, who wouldn't have Corey in mind on it?
Exactly. The guy's a powerhouse.
You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
So I didn't, but, Corey's like a bucket list vocalist that to put on my tracks. And the original vocalist was a good friend of mine who's also a beautiful singer. He's got like a Paul Rogers meets Chris Cornell soul thing going on. Buddy of mine from Indiana, Doug Henthorne, had a band, played with Jason Bonham.
Okay.
A band called Healing Sixes. Look them up, guys. The band is called Healing Sixes, and Jason was in the band. If you get a chance, look these guys up. Give Doug a listen. His originals are wonderful. Anyway, so Doug sang the record, and then I had a track. The last song I wrote, actually the leading track on the record, Your Time Has Run Out, which is the single that they're pushing. When I wrote it, I thought, man, maybe I can get Corey sing this one and have him do a cameo on the record. And, he came down and did it, and it took like one or two lines before we were listening, and the realization came to me that it would be a really good idea to ask him to do the whole record. And he agreed, so at that point, the work, took a while, but the work started, and I got Corey on the rest of the record.
And so when it came to the final lyrics, was that Corey?
No, I wrote all the music.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did, and you did drums and bass on this as well, right?
No, I brought in drummers. I kind of pulled out my all-star list of, some of my favorite drummers. So, would bring guys in to play. One guy would play 2 or 3 songs. I'd bring another guy in to play 2 songs. And so I had about 5 drummers on the record that contributed 2 or 3 songs apiece. And I did bass on about half the record. And then I brought in, again, a couple of bass players on some different tracks. And I did a little bit of B3 here and there, some sound effects here and there, but I also brought in some keyboard players. I did all the guitar on the record, except one song I brought in my buddy Mike Ciro to, we went back and forth on the lead section. So, but other than that, I did all the acoustics, the electrics, all the leads. And I brought in horns and strings and backup singers. So I brought a lot of people, a lot of great musicians I brought in on the record, which is a really nice part of this about this record is, you put it on and you hear a lot of world-class musicians, on this record. There's some of the players and singers on this record are, as high level as it gets.
No,
definitely. How did you go about constructing your solos? I mean, were some of them just one takes, or did some of them take a while?
Some of the solos were some of the original solos, like from the demos.
Okay.
The reference. So some of the solos were the originals, and some of them, were later in the game where I felt like, I can beat what's there, which at times I couldn't. Even some of the rhythm tracks were the original rhythm, the reference tracks that I just couldn't cop the feel. Because, being that it took, the record had years between when I started writing and when I finished it, it's interesting because you could come up with a lick and play it on Tuesday, record it, and then 3 months later you go back to redo that part and you're like, wait a minute, how did I do this? And you can't quite cop the vibe you had when you originally wrote it, and you're so at that point, I think you're better off going with your initial instincts for how you wrote it on that, the feeling and the vibe you had the day you wrote it. If you can't cop that, then you might as well leave, the original intent. I think it has more heart and more meaning than if you try to redo it, and it's just not the same, because you're like, oh man, I'll redo it with a better tone. I'm just putting a reference down now. I'll come back later and I'll get the perfect tone and I'll redo this. It'll be great. It'll be perfect, for the real track. And then you go into it with that mindset and you try to redo it and you're like, wait a minute, this is not beating what I was doing in my pajamas on Saturday night, watching, with the TV on, the game was on and I was kind of half watching the game and half, putting this riff down, thinking this was just a reference. Meanwhile, it ends up being on the record because you couldn't beat it, Then you're like, you know what, maybe I better go put my pajamas on and kind of like, what pajamas were I wearing? Was I wearing?
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah, man. I mean, my buddy Dave Dominich told me a story about Lenny Kravitz. He recorded Lenny's first couple records, and Lenny walked in the studio one day with a cassette tape, and he goes, "Guys, this is the master." And the engineers are looking at him, going, "What do you mean?" He goes, "This is the master right here on this cassette tape, with all this tape hiss and all this lo-fi shit going on, and all the lack of alleged integrity, audio integrity." It was like, no, man. And the engineers are horrified because we as engineers were like, no, man, I got to use my best mic pre's and put up my best mics, and we got to track this, and got to track it properly, and and at the end of the day, it ain't about the gear, it's about the spirit. And that cassette that Lenny brought in had the spirit, Yeah. So it's all about the heart and spirit with music. It's not about perfection and sonics and just it's like I tell singers when they go in to do a vocal, they come to the studio. Tomorrow's vocal day. It's gonna be great. Tomorrow's vocal day. Everything's gonna be perfect, and they can't beat the reference track. And I usually tell people, I say, well, listen, when you go to sing in there, don't go in there with the intention of doing the greatest vocal of your life. Just go in there and make believe you're in your car singing along, or doing gardening and singing, because as soon as you get into that, I'm going to do the perfect take mindset, you might be, you may just stiffen up, or you might set yourself up. It's just, you put too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
In some cases.
When you're in the car, though. Yeah.
Yeah, you do your best. Listen, man, at the end of the day, you do some of your best playing you do while you're just, fiddling on your couch,
Yeah, that's when the realness comes out.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if that had anything to do with your question, but...
Oh, definitely.
Well, as far as making your own solo album, all the experience you've had working with all these artists throughout the years, did you learn anything from maybe someone else that you would have brought to your own work as a musician?
Well, it's interesting. I had a session today with a great guitar player, a good friend of mine, Jimmy Leahy, plays with Dennis DeYoung from Styx, and he's one of the top guns in this area, in any area really. And he was doing a session today, and I was telling the client, the artist that hired Jimmy, I said, I saved so much money on guitar lessons because I've had the privilege of recording so many great guitar players. And, just being in the presence of such high-level musicians is priceless. And, I've learned so much working in the studio, working with great musicians, and even players like, players that are so high level that, I'm a pretty versatile player, but I'm certainly not a jazz player. And I've worked with jazz musicians, and if I wasn't a producer or an engineer, if I was strictly a musician, the odds that I would have been exposed or worked with people at that level, probably not. So being a producer, a studio guy, enables us to work with a lot of different styles that you would not have. So I think that's a yes to that question. How you really do learn a lot being in there. If you're not so tied into the technical part of it, because sometimes you're so deep into the technicality, you're not really paying attention to that. But and that'll happen if you're having issues or whatever, because you really you don't want to hold people up. In the studio, you don't want people waiting around while you're fixing the technical stuff because the mojo can start to dissipate. But I'm pretty good at getting things set up quick and just being able to sit back and witness what's going on creatively.
Well, as far as production goes, how do you separate it when you're doing your own album, when you're not on the outside looking in, when you're doing your own music?
Well, you have to kind of separate yourself from the fact that it's your music and put the objective producer hat on. Go at it like, from a production standpoint, what's best for the track, regardless of whether it's my record or someone else's. So I tried to go into it just treating each song and track production-wise, what's going to be the best for that particular track. And again, take yourself out of perfection mode, and this is my record, so it's got to be perfect. Just go into it with the mindset of, okay, let me just do what this is going to be the best for the listener. Because at the end of the day, that's what you really need to pay attention to is how the listener is going to perceive it. And so I just tried to step away and go at it as if I was two people. I just hired myself to produce myself.
Well, as far as producing and mixing goes, I saw that you've had the Vinnie Moore album and the Angel album coming up soon. Like, what else are you working on currently?
Well, I'm working on the next Dave Bickler record, which you ever hear of the band Survivor?
Yes,
definitely.
Dave's my partner, Dave Bickler from Survivor, the singer, the voice of Eye of the Tiger.
Nice.
So we're working on the next Dave Bickler record as we speak. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I have Dave right here from Survivor, and I'm going to have him say hello to you guys. Do you mind?
No,
not at all.
Dave, say hello to the guys.
Hey guys, what's up?
How you doing, man? Good to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm at Stevie D's. It's a wonderful place to be.
Definitely.
That's right.
All good things happen here.
Yeah, we're working on a new song for the next record, and we've already got one in the can.
Yeah,
for the next record, and this is
number two.
Number two. And luckily, this interview is scheduled smack in the middle of our session, so you guys were able to make even more friends.
Well, we appreciate that. We do. If you're on song number two, so is it pretty early in the process?
Yeah, I mean, pretty early, but I got a lot of stuff in the can and a lot of stuff. We're starting to pick up momentum.
It's going to be great. Going to be another great record, but I'm going to leave Dave alone because he's doing some housekeeping over here.
Nice.
So,
hey guys.
Yeah. Anyway, so I hope you don't mind.
Not at all.
No, very cool.
Dave's a great guy.
Yeah, I was actually mowing my lawn earlier, listening to the classic rock station, and Burning Heart came on. So.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so I'm working on Dave's record and also working on the next Stevie D record.
Oh, nice. Already doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's in the works, and as far and just a lot. I'm always doing a lot of my clients that I've had for years. Luckily, I've got an excellent client base here, and I've had some of my artists coming for 15, 20 years. So I'm always busy.
Before we let you go, you talk about the decision to donate the proceeds from this to St. Jude's.
Yeah. I have the opportunity to, the fact that, I basically make my living as a producer and mixer. I have the opportunity to be able to do that, as far as the income from this record. So, and it's a charity that, I think is such a worthwhile thing to contribute to. So, I thought it an excellent opportunity to do that. And also, it's a win-win, it helps me, somebody who may not have bought the record may, buy the record because of the gesture, so it's a win-win situation, as far as how I was thinking about it.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great.
But the kids, you gotta, geez, we're so fortunate to have gotten this far in life. The kids, such a, these kids are so young to be going through that kind of thing. And,
exactly.
Yeah. And what that doesn't, we don't even need to say anything. It's pretty much self-evident what needs to be done.
Cool, man. Well, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this, especially since you had stuff going on with Dave over there. So thanks again for doing this.
Yeah, pleasure is mine. Do you mind if I just talk about the website where you can, find out more information about the record?
Oh yeah, of course not.
Yeah, it's if you go to www.tornfromthepages.com, you can access the video. We have a couple of videos, and find out when we're going to be playing again, and also the link to where you can buy the record and download the record is right there on the front page, and social media links, and so that URL is pretty much all things Torn from the Pages, Stevie D featuring Corey Glover, and also soundspa.net. That's my studio website where you can if you're a gearhead, I suggest you go to that website. And also you can hear a lot of my work there. So that's www.soundspa.net. That's spa, like jacuzzi and massage.
Right on. Well, thanks. Torn from the Pages. It's a ripper of an album. That's not just lip service. We love it. And we really appreciate the time.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great weekend.
There you go, Stevie D, talking about his brand new project, Stevie D featuring Corey Glover. And of course, once again, that cameo from Dave Bickler of Survivor. So
of course.
Huge thanks to him for taking a couple minutes. And of course, a massive thanks to Stevie D. And a big thanks to Jody from Best Bet Promotions. And of course, we just appreciate the time from everybody and cannot stress enough that you need to check out Torn from the Pages.
Yeah, it's a great hard rock record. I mean, this is the end of the episode anyways. Just stop and go look this record up. Go buy it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, go buy it. Like you heard there at the end of the interview, all the proceeds are going to St. Jude's.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome.
Which is one of the best charities out there because they're completely transparent where 100% of their stuff is going to what it should be. Whereas a lot of charities are kind of a scam at times.
But yeah.
St. Jude's is not, and they do amazing work. So, yeah, that is awesome. So, yeah, once again, big thanks to Stevie D. Can't say enough great things about this album because we are both massive fans of Corey Glover.
Oh, yeah, huge.
Since we were kids, so very cool. All right, if this is your first time listening, we appreciate it. We've got 233 episodes you can check out. They're all at soundcloud.com/Thunder-Underground. You can find everything at thethunderunderground.com. Pretty much most anywhere podcasts are heard except for Spotify because they don't like people to play music like Young Other and other bands we play.
Right.
because there's a copyright thing going on. But anyway, so just don't look on Spotify, just look everywhere else. We've had on a ton of great artists. We've had on a guy named Gene Simmons on this podcast. Bruce Kulick, who also used to be in that band that Gene Simmons is in called Kiss. We've had on a band close to that name-wise with Kix.
Kix.
Yeah, we had on, pretty much the whole band was on that episode, which was very cool.
That was a great one. Dave Ellefson from Megadeth, Kirk Windstein from Crowbar. We've had on Jimmy Bower from I Hate God, Superhuman Ritual, Child Bite. We've had on Kevin Martin from Candlebox, just all kinds of dudes.
Yeah. Seven Dust, Saving Abel, Shine Down, Warrant, Tesla, Dokken, Sons of Texas. Just look into it.
That's right.
Get on SoundCloud, get on our website, and just dig through there. There's going to be something that you like. I can promise you that. And follow us on YouTube. Subscribe at The Thunder Underground. Just recently, we put up a video review of the brand new solo album from Michael Sweet. It's called 10, and it comes out this Friday, October 11th. But we got an advance copy, luckily, so we got to talk about this for you. Recently, we also did one on the new Steel Panther album that came out a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
We've done a ton of other reviews as well, so just subscribe on there so you don't miss them. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're not on Pornhub yet, but
Jesus Christ,
we're working on it. They're a little tricky. It's a year later and we still have not got that Thunder Underground melon baller for sale that you were wanting.
Yeah, well, you're slacking on that, so
yeah,
I don't know.
But we do have shot glasses and t-shirts.
Love that.
Stickers, koozies, all that great stuff, magnets. TheThunderUnderground.com or Facebook. Send us a message, or TheThunderUnderground@gmail.com. Or if you're in the Oklahoma area like us, if you see us at a show, hit us up.
Trent will buy you mini beers.
Oh, yeah. When you say mini, you said mini, right? Like little tiny ones?
No, mini is in a
okay.
lot.
Okay.
M-A-N-Y.
Gotcha. I thought I said M-I-N-I. But
he's good for it, everybody.
All right, we'll see. But if you're listening to this week when it drops, this weekend is Exit 111 in Tennessee. I'll be out there. I mean, I know a lot of you don't know what I look like, but if you know what I look like and you see me, I'll have Thunder Underground stickers on me. You might know Kevin Graham. He'll be out there, so he'll point you in my direction.
There you go.
Yeah. Looking forward to that, and of course, we'll talk about that. All right. Is that enough rambling?
I think that's it.
All right. Once again, thanks to Stevie D, thanks to Med Farm and DB Concerts, and until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.